When I'm working with leaders around the world, I'll often start our events, whether it's a leadership program or a high-performing team session, with what seems like a simple activity, but can be very insightful. I will ask people to draw me a picture of how they got to where they are today. The only rules are no words, and it has to include one thing that they do for fun outside of work. Now you can imagine, whether I'm working with a senior project team in gold mining down in Peru, or I'm on the North Slope of Alaska working with supervisors on an oil drilling site, or whether I'm working with leaders in the healthcare industry, the first reaction is, "You want me to do what? But I can't draw." That leads me to how adults hate to be newbies, but that's a whole different video cast. But when they actually present out their gallery and art that they have created, the insights and ahas are powerful. Because what I've learned is that in our careers, and when we're in high school, and I have three teenage sons who are currently in high school, rarely do we sit there and say, in 30 years, I want to be doing X. I know for myself, I was not expecting to be living in America, running my own company and traveling the world. Our journeys tend to be more convoluted and take twists and turns, some of which we predict and some which we actually seize in the moment. So here's my advice. When you're thinking about reinventing your career, how do you take that first step? Well, let me start with a short potted history of my 5 careers. In high school, I was going to be an engineer, so I studied applied mathematics, physics, and economics. I needed a third topic. And within economics, there was a whole semester that we spent on how banks create money. And I thought, wow, this is really fascinating. So instead of becoming an engineer, I made my first transition and actually went into commercial finance, joining one of the largest banks in the UK. The next 15 years were set. But as I got to work with large international organisations, as I started analysing their business plans and profit and loss and deciding whether or not to lend them millions of pounds, there was another aha moment for me. That it doesn't matter how fancy the widget, it doesn't matter how great the service, if you don't also focus the same care and attention on how business gets done, the interpersonal dynamics that make or break teams every single day, then you don't have a sustainable company and you don't have a sustainable career. So this brought me to transition number 2 and career number 3, which was a move into leadership and executive development. And I found my passion. I've since had the opportunity to work with more than 3,000 leaders in 20 countries and on 4 continents, focused on one thing: how business gets done in their organisation and in their industry. But it wasn't enough, because I was hearing frustrations about how they don't play nice, how that person overcommits or is passive aggressive. And it appeared to me that whatever level of career you were at, people were stuck with interpersonal relationships, professional relationships at work that just weren't working. And so I made pivot and turn number 3 to career number 4, which is as an author. And I wrote Cultivate the Power of Winning Relationships to address that gap, to provide a language and framework that helps people to move their professional relationships forward in a deliberate and thoughtful way. And with that came career number 5 as the CEO and founder of SkyTeam, an international leadership and executive development firm. So as you can see, my journey has had many turns, and alongside that, I've become a wife, a mother. We've relocated halfway around the world from the UK to living now here in Colorado. And I'm sure that for you, as you look at your career, whether you're starting out, maybe you're at mid-career, there have been twists and turns along the way. So what do you want to do if you're thinking about reinventing yourself? As you saw in my career, it's easy to get typecast. I can be seen as the HR person because people aren't aware of the 15 years of commercial finance. I could get typecast as the keynote speaker because that's where people see me at the conferences and events, and they may not have visibility to the broad range of leadership programs that I've helped to build and to facilitate. So if you are being typecast, what can you do? Well, the first thing is to conduct a marketing plan. Think about the people in your organisation, especially in the teams that you might want to move into, and schedule coffee. Go and talk to them. Find out what's happening in their part of the company and what sort of skills and experience that they are looking for to augment their team. Then you can share your background and experience so that they know that you're there and that they know that you're interested. But what if you're thinking about moving outside of your company? Well, take that same idea and move it one step forward. Reach out. I had somebody contact me today who's looking for a new role. Networking is an important part of that process. And scheduling what I refer to as informational interviews. You could get in touch with somebody and say, hey, I'm curious about marketing in your industry. Would you be open to 30 minutes or a 45-minute coffee? I would love to learn more about how business is done. Most people enjoy sharing their expertise, their career journey, and providing advice. So step one is marketing within the company. Step two would be informational interviews with those in your industry. And step three for me, if you just know you want to make a change but you're not sure what, then forget the job description. Don't worry about the end goal. Start with your passions. What is it that you enjoy doing and encourages you to thrive? Maybe it's working in a team. Maybe it's communicating a message to others. Look at the skills you want to use in your reinvented self, and then look for those roles and opportunities that might help match and make that a reality. Good luck. I know you're going to have a fantastic story to tell when I ask you to draw the picture of how you got to where you are today, and more importantly, how you got to where you want to be tomorrow.